And we are live. Yes. Good evening, family. Happy Friday to you.
You make me smile. Seems like the world completely stops.
Everybody's coming in. Let me make sure I am having everything that I want.
Girl, my cloudy afternoons are so clear.
That way, perfect.
I had to tell myself I don't want nobody else. 'Cause he said it's so easy believing the sun will never shine till your presence past the skies is this love. I think I'm in love with you. But my boss is not the same when you.
Come on in, family. Make yourselves comfortable. Come on in, get comfortable while I get a few things up and going for us here.
So high on love, ain't no coming down.
Enjoy some good music as always.
Hard for me to entertain the thought of someone else under me. To compare to your stare, they gotta be something, baby. 'Cause I know that they don't make them quite like you. No. I had to tell myself I don't want nobody else. 'Cause he sent you for a reason.
There we are. All right.
So easy believing that the sun will
All
never
right.
shine till your presence past the skies is the
Yeah, we straight. Hey, I can see the family is checking in. Miss Donna, what is going on? I know we supposed to have a conversation and it ain't happened yet, so maybe we have to schedule that for next week or whatnot. Yes. Tim is in the building. What is this you talking about? You know what? This is. Thank you. Let me just say thank you, Tim. I appreciate it. But it's that winter season here in California. Well, you know, when we was at the games, right? It was outside. It was cold, but it's raining outside right now, man. So I just kind of threw this on to keep myself warm. You know, I always keep a suit jacket hanging on the back of the door in the office in the closet there. So that's what this was. And I was like, it's cold. Let me just put something on. I guess, you know, it goes. So yeah, hey, we stylish today. But yeah. What is going on? Zach, what's happening, brothers? Good to see you, man. So good to see you. You and I, man, we got to make sure that before Monday, I know you sent me the email and everything. I don't know what happened. I know what happened, but got to make sure that you and I communicate soon, real soon. Got a lot going on. So, put the music on down. What is going on, family? Man, I missed y'all last Friday. My apologies. Your favorite uncle cousin was sick. I don't know what happened. Like Wednesday before Thanksgiving, I felt it. Like so sometimes you can just feel the little itchiness in your throat. And I was like, okay. It ain't too bad. Maybe it's just gonna be like a little quick something. Yeah, no, that thing ended up taking me down the rest of the week, man. By the time Thanksgiving came, I tried to enjoy it. I mean, I had fun being over there with John Phillips of Create Simple Meals. You know, I always appreciate that guy. He cooks a full spread for me and my entire family, and it doesn't ask anything of it. So was over there. His wife, my sis, she found some games on TikTok, and oh my goodness, we got to keep her off the internet because she had us playing games where my wife, I tried to find the video they had and they was recording, but I don't know if y'all ever seen the videos where the man is like sitting on top of the wife's knees and he tucks his leg under and then they had to balance each other out. Oh man, you should have seen everybody trying to do that. But luckily, the Gregory's did it. My wife and I, we were the only ones who were able to balance each other out. And I was like, that is interesting. Because does that mean I'm extra big or she extra short? Because y'all see my wife. She is like half my size. And yet and still, I was able to sit on her knee, tuck my legs under her arms, lean back, and she was able to lift her arms and we were just both straight, right? And I was like, this is crazy. How was that working? I don't know how that was working, but yeah, that's what we did, man. Had some good time, good food. But then that Friday afterwards and the rest of them days, yeah, no, I couldn't do anything. So you talk about just being bedridden. That was me all last week, man. Missed y'all. I thought about going live on Friday from the sick bed, but I was like, nah, they don't want to see me looking terrible like that. So yeah, didn't really do it, man. But how was y'all Thanksgiving? How was it for you guys, man? Tell me. Did y'all enjoy yourself? Did y'all get out for Black Friday, get Christmas ready? Did you know what was going on with you? Talk to me. Man. And even still right now, I may be muting this mic randomly because I still have a lingering cough. That's the only thing. It's like I'm better now. I'm here, ready for it all, but I still have this terrible lingering cough, and it's crazy. So if I mute the stream randomly throughout this, it's because I just don't want to be coughing in your ear. So that's what that is. All right. So let's jump into, let's see, what I missed last week. What I want to get into real quick before we do that, before we go into anything. Today is December 2nd. We are almost at the end of the year. Like that is amazing. We are here again, about to enter into a new year. And so what I want to do for these next couple of Fridays, because things are going to be changing in next year, right? Where I won't be going live as much. I think I'll probably be going live maybe once a month, live on YouTube. And the reason I'm deciding to do that is because I really want to engage more with the community, right? I like the fact that we go live and I can see everybody's comments and we can answer questions, and the community, y'all are absolutely amazing. But it's one like me to many kind of thing. Like, so, and I don't really get the chance to have that interaction. So inside of the pro community, we actually can go do Zoom meetings where we can go live and everybody can be, it's a lot more interactive. So I want a lot more of that next year, a lot more of that, not just me talking to y'all, but we can have an actual conversation, right? Because I want us to really scale up next year. And I think it's not, in order for us to scale, it's going to have to be more than just me sitting up here having just this one-sided conversation. Want to be having to get in a community conversation, so that's going to happen weekly. As a matter of fact, for those of you who are already part of the community, let me just show you where this is going to be happening at. So here it is inside of the Self-Employed Pro. This is our online community. So down here under M3, right, the Monday morning masterclass is where I am going to be hosting these like live meetups, and it's only 15 slots for right now. But that's what I'm thinking. I may have to try to try to still incorporate Zoom, because at least with Zoom I can get 100 people on here. But this is like an internal thing within the platform I'm using, which is Circle. So they allowed me to do it within there with up to 15 people. So the next one is going to be this Monday, December 5th, from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's what I'm doing, only for an hour. So if you are already in the community and it's something you want to be part of, go ahead and be involved in that. But also, I am going to be doing other things inside the community just because I want to start doing more there. Right, live trainings, expert session, everything that's outlined in that community, I want to start doing there. We'll just reserve the YouTube. We'll probably do it maybe like once a month, either at the beginning of the month or at the end of the month. I'm thinking more towards the end of the month, so the month can pass and then we can have a check-in and a review. kind of do some things. So yeah, for those of you, and if you aren't part of the community, make sure you get part of the community because it's really about to go down in there. Yeah, so that was that. Let's see here. All right, Zach, I see you say you have to check your emails. No, don't. I mean, yes, check your emails, but I haven't sent anything yet. So that's on me. Like I said, when the week before last, I know I said you sent me your email. You did. I received it, but then I got sick and didn't send anything. So that's on me. But you will be getting an email from me either Saturday or Monday, hopefully before Monday. Because, definitely want to get you into the community so we can start getting this 100,000 thing going on. So definitely. All right. That's that. First announcement. What else do I got going on this Friday? Oh, let's talk about what is happening in the news. Let's start with that. Here's the one. Now, this one I don't want to say I'm excited, but I'm excited, right? Like the Supreme Court denied former President Trump's to block that he surrendered his tax returns. Because remember, for years, he did not want to give up his tax returns. And I was like, why, right? And so finally, the Supreme Court said, no, bruh, you got to give up your tax returns. And here was the result of that, him giving up his tax returns. $1 billion in operating losses over a 2-year period about 10 years ago. I want us to pay attention to that. $1 billion in operating losses. So a net operating loss of $1 billion, which happened over a 2-year period about a decade ago. And here's what's so interesting about that. Trump isn't as tax savvy as he says he is. The reason I was excited about this article because it was so many people on social media not too long ago saying Trump don't pay taxes, Amazon and the rich don't pay taxes. And I was like turning red in the face trying to explain to people like it's not something mystical and magical in the tax code that's allowing for this to happen. It's something that you and I can do as regular taxpayers. Like, you don't have to be rich and wealthy to take advantage of the tax code. It's called a net operating loss. Like, I've said that, but yet and still the argument was, only the rich, right? Like, if billionaires can do it, why can't we? And I'm like, well, because we can. They're like, you don't have to be a billionaire to take advantage of this. And so I don't hear a lot of people now. I hear a lot of crickets, right? I hear a lot of that's what I'm hearing now. A whole lot of crickets. Because it's finally being brought to the light. Trump isn't doing anything special. Back over 10 years ago, which was over a decade, he probably took some losses in some real estate, probably took some losses in some business dealings. And the law, the tax code says that, if you have a net operating loss, which means you have more losses than you have income on your tax return, you can carry that negative balance forward for up to 20 years. You can do that right now, which is why another reason why I say it kind of made me turn red in the face, because I would tell people, take your losses. If it happens, it happens. Obviously, nobody wants to take a loss, but if you do, take it. It's only a benefit. So many people are like, I ain't making the money, I want to report my taxes. And I'll be like, no, don't have that mentality because of, let me put it back up here. Because of this right here, right? The idea, think about that. Trump hasn't paid taxes in so long because he's been carrying over this negative balance year after year after year. And he'll do so until either that negative balance is ate up or the 20 years is expired. So I want us, like I said, greatness next year. I want us to do everything we are legally allowed to do. Right? If our businesses didn't go well, take that loss, carry it forward into a year where you are going to do well, and that negative number will offset any other taxable income. So Trump made it seem like he didn't pay taxes because he was extremely savvy or he knew how to manipulate the tax code. And, you know, the rapper Waka Flocka Flame was like, yeah, well, I had a conversation with Trump and he was like, you know, own nothing, control everything. And that was the reason for this whole him beating the tax system. When I'm like, oh, now that the truth is exposed, it wasn't that. It's the fact that he took a loss, which is something you and I can do. Which is something it doesn't take any kind of fancy structure. It doesn't take anything costly to do. You just simply say, hey, you know, I put money into my business. It didn't fan out the way I wanted it to. Therefore, I ended up with a loss. And when you do that, you carry it forward. You can even carry it back 5 years. Look it up. It's called a net operating loss. You can go back 5 years or you can carry it forward 20. Most people opt to carry it forward because they know hopefully they're going to make a lot more money in future years, and so they'd rather have something to offset the tax. That's nothing fancy. But what I think it does is it exposes Trump and his manipulation tactics, right? Like he had everybody thinking like he didn't pay taxes because of something in the tax law, very tax savvy. And this is another one, was like, oh, it was simply a loss, a $1 billion operating loss that happened over a 2-year period, over 10 years ago. And that's why he's paying zero taxes now. So if he didn't have that loss, he would be paying taxes. Yeah. And that's, you know, that's crazy to me. Right? The fact that so many people were just so upset that Trump isn't paying taxes. I'm like, yes, he is. And now we finally have our receipts as to why. Right? Loving that. Oh, and now let me do this. Update time. And again, if I'm going through too fast, y'all let me know here. But time for the update. And this is what I want to share y'all. Remember, not too long ago, when we was doing the business mastery, one of the things we talk about regurgitation, we were talking about, you know, pumping up the volume, that one particularly, pumping up the volume. Well, let me show you what happened. So I pumped up the volume on mine. And here, look, check that out, y'all. This was just in the last 30 days, October 28th to November 26th. I looked at my statistics. My reach, 421% increase. Like, that's crazy, right? Like accounts reach, 23. Well, really just look at the increase. When I did that pump up the volume, I don't think I had reached that many. I shot up a 4, not a 10%, not a 20%, not 100%, not a 200%, but a 421% increase. Okay, look at the accounts engaged, a 652% increase. Right? Again, not a 10% increase, not a 20, not a 50% increase, a 652% increase. And total followers, 28.3% increase. But I'll be honest with you, the total followers is the one that I was most excited about. Because I don't know, some of y'all may have seen the story where me and my daughter was somewhat in a little bit of a competition of followers. And the only reason, she didn't know that she was in competition with me, but I was in competition with her. Because I would look at her page and I was like, you know, she got 10 posts of her making little silly faces. and had over 2,300 something subscribers on Instagram. And I'm like, how? Like, I got over 560 some posts trying to help people, trying to educate. And I had at the time, maybe 1,600 at the time. And I was like, how will you have 10 with over 23? And I got like 500 posts and only like 1,600 people. Right. And so it was very, at that point, she became my target. I was like, all right, we're going to see. I'm going to really pump up this volume and we're going to see what happens. And it works. Family, like as of right now, I do believe I have over 2,600 Instagram followers. And I was like, that is simply amazing, simply because I pumped up the volume, which let me show you this here. Let me show you the content. So as we can see, within that 30 days, I posted 2 posts. There's literally like, let's look at what made this happen. 2 posts only. Shared 33 stories. But here's what I think the thing is, the reels, 18 reels. Okay, I think that was the one thing that really got it going is reels. So if you're really trying to pump up the volume, pay attention to your reels. And even with the videos, I only shared 3. And I think this because I did maybe like a duet or something like that. And I went live 4 times within that 30 days. And all of that is what generated me this right here. Very simple. And again, if we look at that, that's not a daily thing, right? That's not me doing everything every day, right? Like, okay, yeah, even with the stories, maybe posted 1 a day within a 30-day period, but I was supposed to post something every single day. But as you can see, I didn't. I think I posted a story every day, but that was it. I think I did like reels, and really, the reels was like just taking snippets of the YouTube videos, taking the best part, putting it under 60 seconds and uploading it, right? Like those were the greatest thing. And I think the most viewed reel right now is the first myth of the LLC, right? Like that one right there got thousands of likes, multiple shares. People have remixed it. Like that one is that one. So of all the 33 reels, the 18 reels I did, only 1 has been seen over 20,000 times, which is crazy to me. Never in my lifetime think that I would have like that many views on one video. That's crazy, man. But I'm saying, so I'm excited because it's working. People like, we can really pump up the volume just simply doing the smallest thing. Like you can see, I didn't really put out a ton of content, and I really wasn't consistent like I said I should have been with it. But even with just the small amount, just turned up the volume just a little bit, I got some cool results. And I want y'all to be able to do the same. So when we talk about going into our greatness next year, here's the first thing I want us to do is let's set some goals. Like let's literally set, it don't always or necessarily have to be a financial goal, right? But I do want us to set some goals for next year and start working on them now. Let's not wait till January 1st to start working on our goals. We can start revving up the engines right now, get it going, right? Then once we set some goals, I really want us to start getting into some actual plans. Like, okay, if my goal is to make my first $100,000 from my business, what does that look like? Let's start to reverse engineer the process. Let's start to reverse engineer the math, right? If I sell $100 worth of widgets and I want $100,000 worth of actual net profit, what does that look like? How many do I have to sell? Do I have that capacity? Do I need to hire somebody? Do I need to, whatever it is that's going to allow us to walk into our greatness, we need to do it. And we need to start doing it now. So come January 1st, we hit the ground running. Okay? And then also this is the first. How many? Oh, God, let me look at something real quick here. See how many Fridays we got left here. So we got a lot of Fridays before the new year. So today's the first. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 more Fridays left in this month that will be going live. And on each of these Fridays, it's going to be geared towards getting us ready for next year. Simply, what I want to do is really wrap up the current year for our businesses, for our taxes, getting ourselves ready, understanding, what needs to be done to go into next year, getting everything that we need to, have a really good year next year. So, yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4 more Fridays to go. We good. All right. Then, speaking of getting ready for end of the year, what I want to do, pull this back up here, is make sure you do this. Keep your money. Here's what I mean by this. I don't know, some of y'all, so like I went live on Instagram, was it Wednesday maybe? I think it was Wednesday because that cough was still with me and I couldn't, it was killing me, so I ended up going back home, which is a result of what was going on this whiteboard here. I know it's going towards the end of the year. We're going to see a lot of tax professionals, talking about, hey, let's get everything in order. Let's do what we going to do. A lot of the gurus are going to be like, spend your money so you can write everything off and you don't have to pay taxes and all this good stuff. And I'm like, all right, to my community, to my family, keep your money, right? We are getting ready to enter into greatness. All right, we are getting ready to enter into a season of greatness. In my personal opinion, we are going to enter into some financial prosperity this year. We're going to be good, right? And the only way you're going to be good is if you keep your money. And then the reason this whole thing came about, and even for those of you who may not have saw the video, I'm gonna just recap it. Master P, some of y'all may know who he is. If you don't, he's an entrepreneur, hip hop mogul, right? He was on a podcast, I think it was the Earn Your Leisure podcast, where they was doing the AT&T Revolt Summit, and he came out and told the audience that if you buy a car that weighs over 6,000 pounds, you can get it for free. That's what he said. And I was like, how? And so I'm listening intently, like, all right, because I understand the whole play of getting a car that's worth over 6,000 pounds, you can depreciate the full value of the car in the first year, right, through Section 179. I get that. But how is it free? That's the part that got me, because he said it twice. Right? You're like, yeah, you get the car, I'm going to give you the game. Y'all pay attention to me, woo-woo. You do this, and the car is going to be free. And I'm like, man, it don't work like that. It do not work like that. So with that, me being me, the numbers guy, the run your numbers, I'm like, let's really look at this from a perspective. And I came up with this one here. Okay. Now, here was my numbers breakdown for a vehicle that's over 6,000 pounds. And I chose to use a scenario where somebody is single and no dependents. And matter of fact, let me say this here and put this disclaimer out there. The reason that I use single with no dependents is because that is the highest tax bracket there is. okay? If you are claiming single with no dependents, I'll be honest with you, it sucks, but you are going to be paying the highest in taxes, okay? So I always start there. Single, no dependents, which means that if the situation or the scenario changes that, so if you add a dependent, then guess what? The highest tax, you start there, add a dependent, whatever that number is, it'll go lower. If you're married, that number would go lower. If you're married with kids, that number will go lower. But the cap is going to be single, no dependents, because that is the highest tax bracket there is as of the recording of this video. So we started with somebody with single, no dependents. They had $50,000 of taxable income, meaning after everything was said and done, this scenario was for somebody who was 100% self-employed. And after they wrote off everything, right? They wrote off, they listened to the internet gurus. They wrote off the vacations. They wrote off half the rent. They wrote off, taking their friends on exotic trips. They did all this. And what was left over still was $50,000 of taxable income. And based on that, the total tax, and this is federal only, this is not this state, it's for federal only, the tax on $50,000 would have been $10,273, which we see right there, okay? And so I said, all right, let's run this the 6,000 pound play. So what vehicle, and I just Googled, right, vehicles over 6,000 pounds, and I say that we had a 2022 Toyota Tundra. And I said, that's cool, because that's the car I got. It ain't the 2022, but I do have a Toyota Tundra. And so it ranges anywhere between 50 to 70,000. So I'm like, perfect, fits right within our range. And so the scenarios as we see played out here, $50,000 left over, right? That's what we want to get rid of. They go get a Toyota Tundra. And then the cool thing is, yeah, you can put $5,000 down. You don't have to put the full 50, right? Unless you just got it like that. This individual who's single, no dependents, wanted to get rid of that $10,273, right? So they're like, fine, I'm gonna take $5,000, go put that down on me a brand new truck, brand new 2022 Toyota Tundra. I'm gonna go for the basic package, so I'm gonna just put $50,000. Fine. They're financing the $45,000 because they put $5,000 out of their pocket. They're financing the rest. Excuse me. Assuming they had a good, fair credit score between 640 and 699, they were able to achieve an annual percentage rate of 5.5%. And so here is where, like I say, keep your money. Because where does the free come in at? If we look at this, based on all of this, putting $5,000 down, financing $45,000, good credit, well, fair credit, I'll say it's good, right? 640, 699. The monthly car note, excuse me, hold on. Let me bring this up here so you can see. The monthly car note is $860 a month for 60 months, which is the average car note, right? It's about 5 years. That comes up to $51,600 in total payments, which is the $45,000 principal and the $6,600 interest, right? But if you include the $5,000 down payment, the total made over 6 years is $56,600. And here's why I say keep your money. Look at the two numbers in yellow. All right, let me put it back up here. Let's look at the two numbers in yellow. The goal of this individual, listening to the internet gurus, listening to Master P say, go on and get you a car that's over $6,000 because it's going to be free. and I'm still don't see where the idea of free come from. This individual paid, or would have paid. That's good because again, this is a span of 5 years. $56,600 to save $10,273. That's the part that really irritates me when people try to say they giving you a play or they giving you game. It's like, run the numbers. Who wants to spend $50,000 to save 10? Like, that doesn't make sense to me at all. But there are people that are doing it constantly, like constantly. And it doesn't change the further you go up in scale. Because I did the same scenario, because here's the break. I did the same scenario with a G-Wagon. If somebody had $190,000 of taxable income left over, the total tax would only be $48,988, right? So yeah, I can see the reason that somebody wanted to get rid of $48,000, but when everything is said and done, they would have spent $219,560 to save $48,988. Like it doesn't make sense. Why not just spend the 10, save the 40, and then you can use that 40 to actually reinvest into the business, or I mean, you could do so many other things with $40,000, right? Like, you don't have to spend $50,000 to save 10. Like, that's backwards math. But people do it because that's what people who are famous and people who have lots of money do. And I'm like, I don't see how that. And somebody help me out there, because I'm sick still. My head's a little groggy, a little still in the clouds. Maybe I'm not seeing it. But how was that free? How was spending $56,000 free? How? How is that equivalent to free? First of all, because yeah, you still got to pay for it. Now, I can see where they would say, you know what? Well, I got $10,000. And I'm like, no, if you think about that, you really didn't get $10,000, because that was money saved, not money that was given to you, right? The best way to think about that is to say, hey, if I start off with $1 and I was going to have to spend 50 cents, I would have been left with only 50 cents, right? But I didn't have to spend 50 cents, so I still got my $1. See what I'm saying? Like, there was no additional gain. Like, oh, I didn't have to send that 50, so that 50 cents I saved, I now get to add to my $1. Now I got $1.50. It didn't work like that. It's just the fact that, hey, I didn't have to spend 50, so I get to keep my whole $1. You are right at the same exact level. It's the same thing here with this $10,000. It's not like the fact that, oh, well, I would have had to spend 10, but now I didn't. So you're right back at the same. There was no gain. So we can't say that $10,000 saved, we're going to add to the cost of the car, because that is not a gain. That is simply something that did not have to get paid. So and trust me, I tried to spin this multiple ways because I love and respect Master P, but he's not a tax person. I'm sure his accountant is probably telling him, like, okay, if you're going to buy a car, make sure you at least do this so we can get a tax benefit. Now, that part I would agree with. If you're going to have to buy a car because the car that you have is on its last leg, right? Like it ain't gonna make it one more day. If you have to buy the vehicle in that instant, then by all means, yes, look for one that is going to give you a tax benefit. I get that. But buying things, and I'm saying that because this is what you're going to hear over the next couple of weeks. Buy stuff, save on taxes, right? Like it's the end of the year. Take all the money that you've earned, buy something to save on taxes. Everybody's going to tell you that. Buy this, reduce your taxes. And I'm like, keep your money. Tax deductions is not a dollar for dollar deduction, as we saw with that scenario. If that individual, they depreciated the full $50,000, right? And it only saved them $10,273. Now, granted, one other thing we can consider, just in the spirit of transparency, if that $50,000 would have took them into a loss, then they could have carried that loss forward. So maybe in future years, that $10,000 would have been deducted by whatever the loss is. But that's another thing. Let me put this back out here. That's another thing I forgot to mention. That $10,000 that they saved, that's a one-time thing. One time. And because the Section 179 depreciation deduction is for the first year. That doesn't happen every single year. That happens one time. And so that's when I hear about the G-Wagon play and all this other stuff. And I'm like, we're not telling the people the entire truth. Can you deduct the G-Wagon in full? Absolutely. You absolutely can. But that is a one-time deduction. And what's going to happen next year? This is why I want us to keep our money. Don't go spending your money. Right? Like the goal of being wealthy is to hold on to as much money as you possibly can. That's why if you haven't got the book yet, Protect Your Profits, my ebook, check it out, get your copy, because this is what's important. Learning how to keep your money so you can do something very strategic and specific with it. Right? Again, the link is in the bio. Because if you haven't got it, get it, because we gonna need all of our money. Things are changing. If we looking at the news, we talking about the recession, jobs being laid off, things being cut back, AI coming into place. We need as much money as we can to sustain ourselves. And we want to be as smart as possible about our money. We need to protect our profits as much as possible. We need to understand cash flow management. We need to understand our profit and losses. We need to understand quarterly estimated payments as far as taxes go. We need to understand all of that, because if not, if we're simply listening to somebody that says, hey, go spend this money. Now, technically, if we're being real, in this scenario, they only spent $5,000. Right, so somebody can be like, you know what? They only put $5,000 down, and they saved themselves $10,000. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. Not gonna argue there, but they just committed themselves to 5 years worth of payments, which once everything is said and done, that's $56,600. We have to look at every single number and say, is this worth it? Is this the cost? Like, there is what they call the cost of capital. In either case, the person ends up spending $56,600 to save $10,000 in 1 year. And it doesn't make sense. So don't go spending your money frivolously. Keep it. Plan accordingly. If the key thing is, if you need it, then by all means get it. Simple. Okay, excuse me. Let that be your decision tree. Do I need this? Not do I want it? Because we can get caught up in that. but do I need this? Is there going to be a return on my investment, right? That's probably one of the biggest things. When I'm talking about keeping your money, is there going to be a return on my investment? One of the late great Nipsey Hussle, in one of his songs, he says, you know, I never spend more than I get back. And then if you look at that, if I'm going to spend $1, there has to be a return on it, right? And I'm hoping I'm not confusing nobody, because I want to make sure. When I heard that, I was like, I really had to sit down like, what did he just say? He says, I never spend more than I'll get back, which means, if you think about that, which means he already has a plan for it to give him a return on his investment. Because he's telling himself, if I'm going to spend this amount that I'm spending has to be less than what I'll get back. Because if I'm spending this $1 and it's more than what I'm getting back, then I'm doing a backwards financial, right? Like, so if I spend $1 and all I get back is 90 cents, then I've lost money. I've lost 10 cents, right? I've lost 10% of that investment. He says, I never do that. Every time I spend, I have to get back more than what I spent. That, when we talk about moving into greatness, that has to be our leading thought with everything we do going forward, starting now. We're not going to wait till January 1st. Tomorrow morning, when you wake up and you feel like you want to go spend some money, is it going to be, when you spend money, is it going to be less than what you get back or more? That's what you want to look at. Every single dime that goes out of your pocket, is it going to bring you back more, or are you going to lose money? Keep your money. Wait, leave us. So I lost you. All right. At what part did I lose you on, Levi? You gotta let me know, because I know that was real cryptic, right? Never spend more money than what you get back. Yeah. Press the wrong button. Let me know what part I lost you at. I'll be more than happy to go and explain that one. But I think I did. But if I didn't, by all means, let me know. By all means, let me know. Because at the end of the day, if you spend $1, make $1.10. If I can just simplify it that way. Whatever you spend, if you spend $5, get back $5.50. Every dollar spent should increase something down the line. You know, if you're spending money on marketing, advertising, if you're spending money on in inventory, if you're spending money on whatever you spend money on, just make sure that it is going to produce a return on that investment. That is how we're going to grow. Okay. Because one thing we want to do is we want to have enough money. When I talk about keep your money, you want to have enough money so we can make investments, right? So we can go into some other things, right? So we can have that balance. One thing you also want to do is invest in yourself, right? You do want to take that vacation. You do want to go on that trip with your family, with your significant other. You do want, even if you just do a staycation, when you just stay at home and shut everything down, you want to be able to afford to do that. But if we're spending money and losing every time we spend it, that's going to be difficult. Not to say it's going to be impossible, but it is going to be difficult to do. Okay? So, yes. Tim, good question, man. Let me see if I can find that. says, do we really make money if we don't get back what we put in? And I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. If you don't get back what you put into it, well, from a financial perspective, no. Right? But then, like I tell my kids all the time, I never lose. I either win or I learn. Right? So sometimes I may not make my money back financially, but do I consider that a loss? Me, I never say I lose because I learned from that situation, which to me is a gain. So sometimes the gain is not always monetary. Sometimes the gain is mental. Sometimes the gain is emotional, right? Sometimes the gain is just as long as you were able to grow from it, it's a gain. Now, if you do nothing with the loss, if you do nothing, if you just chalk it up and be like, oh, well, if there's no lesson from it, if there's no experience gained from it, then yeah, it's a loss totally 100%. And that's kind of, we stepping into greatness. We not taking L's. And if we are going to take L's, they're going to be lessons this year. All right. Well, Mr. Levi, the question is, do you need it, right? Are you going to get a return on that investment? Buying T-shirt equipment at the end of the year to write off? My decision tree is, do I need it? And this is where we got to be honest with ourselves, because it's easy. Oh my God, it's so easy to justify the need for something. The best way to do it, Brother Levi, is to say, hey, currently right now, with the equipment that I have, I'm able to produce 50,000 a year based on just me in my current situation with the equipment that I have, me doing nothing extra, I'm able to produce $50,000 a year. And I'm just throwing that out there as a round number. If you can justify, and I mean pen to paper, run the numbers, if you can justify that says, if I get this piece of equipment, that 50,000 is going to jump to 75. If that is a backed number, if that is a, how can I say, and act like you've done a feasibility study. You sat down, you ran the numbers, you did the projections, and you say, with this equipment, same if it's just me, right? If it's just you using the same equipment, I can produce more, I can produce faster, I can be more efficient. And based on this more production, this more efficiency, I am going to increase revenue by 25%. Then by all means, it is definitely good. One, because you're going to increase revenue by 25%. And then two, you do get that tax deduction. So I'm going to say, yeah. But, on the opposite end of that, if we cannot justify that, then I'm going to say no, bad move. Because you can put money into something else, right? Like, well, because it's weird, right? Because you definitely, if you're going to save that money, you definitely want to reinvest it back into the business. So you might as well get the equipment. But, before that, really sit down, analyze the business and say, okay, where would this money best be served? Because maybe you got equipment that's still good, right? Like the equipment you have right now. Maybe it's good enough, but maybe you're not getting the volume. So maybe instead of buying a piece of equipment, say, you know what? I'm going to put money into a sales team, possibly somebody to go out there and, ooh, excuse me, I was going to be coughing. Excuse me, I apologize. But maybe put that money towards a sales team, somebody that's going to go out there and get new accounts, right? Something that the one machine can still handle on its own right now. right? And then once you're like, okay, yeah, I got these new accounts, I got this sales team, I'm starting to see revenue coming in. Now I need to actually get me another piece of equipment because my initial investment, my sales team, is actually going out there and getting me accounts. Right now I need to hire somebody to help me, deal with the inventory, deal with the volume that's coming in. So if you're going to spend money, just make sure that we spend it on the thing that is going to produce the highest level of return for our business. And I'm only saying that, and I'm so passionate about it because that's a mistake that I made. I bought a lot of fancy stuff, bought a lot of fancy equipment. I did get use out of it. Like my whole setup here, I'm enjoying it, being able to live, being able to do videos a lot easier, a lot more productive, a lot more efficient. But if I'm being honest, there were some things that I could have waited on. There's some things I could have been like, you know what, I'll wait on that. And it's a lesson I learned the hard way, right? Which is why I wrote the book on it. Like, yo, don't do what I did in this business, right? Like, I just made my life harder than it had to be because there's a lesson I had to learn the hard way. So I'm telling you, keep your money. But if you have to spend it on something that is definitely going to give you a return on what you spent. Right, write down. If I spend $1, give yourself a time frame. If I spend this $100, I need to make $110 back within 30, 60, 90 days. Like, plot that out, right? Go a max of a year, right? Because I always told myself, even though I'm buying this, I need to be able to see a return on what I bought at minimum a year. That's what I did. I mean, a year is a lot because I always say I'm right off at the end of the year anyway, so hopefully I got a year to make my money back. But I would say set that up at the 30, 60, 90-day increments and go from there, okay? My man Tim said he made a big purchase embroidery machine, but also selected to take credit over time. That works too. Tim, glad you brought that up, man. You're buying things on credit. If you need to make some and you don't have the cash and the capital, but you know it is going to definitely bring in more revenue, look into the credit options, right? OPM, others people money, use that, definitely. Okay, Maria, I ain't seen you. How you been? Let's see here. Tara should always ask that is putting money in your pocket can fly coach and use it as a deductible? I'm gonna say yeah. Why not? If it's for business purposes only, I will say if it's business purposes only, by all means, yeah. Like, I don't think how you get there is so much an issue with the IRS, right? They do cap certain luxury items, especially when it comes to meals, like lavish and luxury, like flying first class is versus taking a personal jet, right? Like, really, they're going to kind of look at those kind of things, but at the same time, I don't see where it'd be a problem there. People do it all the time. Matter of fact, isn't there a business first class? Like, it happens. So that would not be a problem, okay? Yeah, Tim said, I think my embroidery machine, if I took every penny that I sold for it, would pay that thing off by now. And it was now, I agree it. I agree it. Oh, man, we got to talk about that. Yo, that's what's up. Shout out to you. But boy, it said increase the price was not easy, did it? Got more profits. Boy, yes. Shout out to you. Super excited, man. Man, yes. I'm telling y'all, I just ain't talking out the side of my neck, man. I hope everybody was taking notes. Do it again. I mean, unfortunately, inflation is still going up, right? I think the Fed just announced again they was about to increase rates one more time. So you ready? I'm getting ready to actually write a letter to all my clients and inform them like, hey, it's been good. I've been good trying to be, as low as possibly can, but I can no longer afford to be inexpensive, right? So those letters hopefully will be going out within the next couple of weeks, or before tax season comes here, they can have a decision that they can make. But increasing the pricing, man, is going to be one of the things when we talk about enter into greatness, right? Like, increase your pricing, get your worth, and you'll be good to go. So, man, it is 8 o'clock already. What is this? Tim says I did lose one. Oh, well, yeah, of course, we're always going to lose somebody. Yeah, when definitely raising the prices. We always going to lose somebody, unfortunately. So, I'm about to go home and have me some tea. I tell y'all, to kind of help with this cough. So look, again, recap, because it's 8 o'clock. Don't want to be before anybody long. Recap. Get ready. Take notes. These last 4 Fridays, we definitely going to talk about taxes, right? We're going to kind of go through understanding the tax return, making sure we get ready for next year coming up, making sure you have everything you need. We're going to talk about that these next coming up Mondays. Again, if you're not part of the community, make sure you join the community. The link is in the notes of the stream here, because every Monday morning, right here, the Monday Morning Masterclass, we're going to be live, but it is very interactive, not just me talking to y'all. This is going to be like a Zoom thing. We're going to get into it. There's a book that I read called, oh my goodness, The 25 Disciplines of Entrepreneurship. Very, very engaging book. We're going to be talking about that, teaching on those kind of things. Let's see here. And yeah, I think that's it. Let me give y'all the thought of the day so we can close out. There it is. You are what you do, not what you say you'll do. I find this one to be very, very relevant to tonight's topic, because we always say we gonna do something, but it's what we do that really matters, right? Like, I've been saying a lot of things for a long time, but it ain't really did a whole lot of things, but I can see how they're starting to affect my family. So this year, starting now, I am going to do a lot more than what I say. All right, fam? So that is it for me. I appreciate y'all being here as always, man. Y'all enjoy yourselves, enjoy your weekends. Before you spend your money, make sure that it is going to return you some money. All right? Equipment and everything. Don't buy it just because it's going to be a tax deduction, because as we can see, it don't make sense to spend 50 to save 10. I'd rather you spend the 10, save the 40, take that 40, reinvest it into the business, turn that 40 into 80, 80 and 160. You know the math. It's entrepreneurs math, because everything we do, we double. So until the next time, my good people, know that I love y'all and I appreciate y'all. And I will see you on the next one. And talk to you later. Peace out, people.